I don't want to spend too much on this slide because it's just kind of confusing, but I'm going to basically just show you guys what we do to figure out how to multiply these, and then I've got 3 examples that I want to run through with you guys. Okay, so first off, can we multiply these? Well, this is a 2 by 2, and this one is a 2 by 2. So yes, I can multiply them because those two numbers match, and my product is going to be a 2 by 2. So what I want you guys to notice here is we've got matrix A times matrix B, and then we've got our product matrix, which is AB. And I've got a 2 by 2 matrix here. Okay, so we said our product would be a 2 by 2 matrix. Now, this is where the addresses come into play. Remember, this matrix here has an address of row 1 and column 1. Okay, this matrix over here has row 1, column 2. Okay, we can continue on. So the address tells us what we need to multiply together. Okay, so since this one here is row 1 and column 1, I need to take row 1 of matrix A times column 1 of matrix B. Okay, now when you do this, you're going to turn up, and I wish you guys could see my hands right now, but you can't. But I'm going to turn this up, so this is going to go down, and this is going to rotate up. And you guys will see when you do that, A and B are now standing straight up and down. We take A times E, B times G, B times G, and you add those two together. Okay, so that's how you find your first one. The next one we have there is row 1, column 2. So again, I'm going to take row 1 times column 2, and again I'll turn up A, B, okay, so A times F plus B times H. And you guys keep following this pattern depending on what the product matrix tell you. So this one down here is row 2, column 1, so I'm going to take row 2 times column 1. Okay, I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I'd rather just get to the actual examples of it. Okay, so starting out, I have matrix A and matrix B there. Okay, and I'm going to take matrix A times matrix B. So first off, can I do this? Well, this is a 3 by 3 matrix, and this one here is a 3 by 2. So can I multiply these? Yes. What's my product going to be? My product will be a 3 by 2 matrix. Okay, it's going to be a 3 by 2 matrix. So the first step that I would do if I was you guys is I would draw out my product. And this first one needs to be a really big matrix because I'm going to have to show some work. But this is going to be a 3 by 2, meaning we have 2 columns, matrix. Okay? So this here, what's the address for this part here? Well, the address will be row 1, column 1. What's the address for this one here? Row 2, column 1. What's the address for this one here? Row 3, column 1. If I go over to the other side, this one's row 1, column 2. This one's row 2, column 2. This one is row 3, column 3. Okay, this is telling us what we need to multiply together to find these. This is telling us what we need to multiply together to find these. Okay, so for this one here, I need to multiply row 1 by column 1. Okay, and remember when I do this, we're going to turn up. Okay, so I'm going to turn this up so it's a 2, 4, and a 2. Okay, when I do these, I show a lot of work. Okay, so for row 1, column 1, I'm going to then write out 2 times 3, 4 times negative 1, 2 times 0. Okay, and in between each of these, you need a plus sign. You're going to add those together. Okay? Then, it doesn't matter which one you go to next. You guys can pick. Okay? Let's say we're going to move over to this side. Well, I need to take row 1 times column 2. Okay? This is in row 1, column 2. So 2 and 2, this 2 and 2, 4 and 4. Okay? So I'm going to write 2 times 2 plus 4 times 4 plus 2 times 2. There's always plus signs in between them. It's always a plus sign in between them. Okay? Next then, we can go row 2 times column 1. You're going to turn up 1 times 3 plus negative 5 times negative 1. Put that in parentheses so I don't lose negative. And 1 times 0. Okay? Next one, we're staying with row 2. But this time we're taking row 2 times column 2. Okay? So 1 times 1 plus negative 5 times 4 plus 1 times 2. Oh, I'm sorry. This would be 1 times 2. Negative 5 times 4, 1 times 2. My bad. I wrote that number down wrong there. Okay, and then we just have one more row left in our product matrix here. Okay, we're now going to do row 3 times column 1. Okay, so we turn up 3 times 3 plus 0 times negative 1 plus 2 times 0. Okay, and then the last one is row 3, column 2. So I'm going to take row 3 times column 2. 3 times 2 plus 0 times 4 plus 2 times 2. Okay? And that step right there, that's the really complicated step. This is the complicated step here. Okay? After this, it's just simple math. Okay? And like I said, I show a lot of work on this. You don't necessarily have to show this much work. I'm going to write each of these steps out. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. 2 times 0 is just 0, so I don't need to write that. Next one here. 1 times 3 is 3. Negative 5 times negative 1 is a positive 5. 1 times 0 is 0. Down to the next one. 3 times 3 is 9. 0 times negative 1 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, now I'm moving up here to this one here. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. 2 times 1 is 2. And the bottom one, 3 times 2 is 6. 0 times 4 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so after this, once you get this step down, and it's all about what position it is in this product matrix, okay, then I just multiply, and then after I multiply, I just add. So 6 minus 4 is 2. 3 plus 5 is 8. We already had just a 9. 4 and 16 is 20, and another 4 is 24. 2 minus 20 would be negative 18, plus 2 gives me negative 16, and 6 and 4 gives me 10. And there's my answer. Okay? So there is kind of a lot of work with this, but if you guys pay attention, it's all about what row, column this stuff is in. Okay? So, we've got 2 more examples that I'm going to try, and I hope I can get through these in the rest of our time. Okay? So we've got one here. What I want you guys to do is I want you guys to pause the video, see how far you can go with this. Pause the video and see how far you can go with this. Okay? All right. Okay, so first, can we multiply this? Well, this is a 3 by 2 matrix, and this is a 2 by 2 matrix. Those match. Our product matrix is going to be 3 by 2. Okay, product matrix is 3 by 2. So, I need to draw this out then. It's actually the same matrix we had last time. Well, not the same, but the same product matrix. Okay, so I have right here a 3 by 2. Okay, this one, again, we're doing our addresses, row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2. Row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2. row 3, column 1, row 3, column 2. Okay, that's telling us what we're going to multiply together. So the first one, row 1, column 1. I need to take row 1 times column 1. So that's 4 times 0 plus 2 times 5. Okay, and that's my row 1, column 1. Next I have row 1, column 2. That's 4 times 3 plus 2 times 8. Okay, I'm just turning them up. I've got my first row done. Now I'm ready to do row 2, column 1. 1 times 0 plus 6 times 5. Okay. Next I'm going to do row 2, column 2. 1 times 3 plus 6 times 8. Okay. Again, remember, I got these addresses because of where they are in our product matrix. So draw your product matrix out first. Last one, or last row here, I've got row 3 times column 1. That's 3 times 0 plus 9 times 5. Okay, and then my last one that I have here is row 3, column 2. So 3 times 3 and 9 times 8. Okay, just like looking through this and things that you can check to make sure you're doing this right. Kids in the past have pointed out to me that when they do this, everything in parentheses straight up and down should be the same. Okay, that's a way to check. And straight across, 4 and 2 on the outside, 4 and 2 on the outside. 1 and 6 on the outside, 1 and 6 on the outside. 3 and 9 on the outside, 3 and 9 on the outside. Across, they should be the same on the outside of the parentheses. Okay? So now that you guys have done that, now we're just doing the simple math stuff to solve. Okay, so 4 times 0 is 0, 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 0 is 0, 6 times 5 is 30. 3 times 0 is 0, 9 times 5 is 45. 4 times 3 is 12, and 2 times 8 is 16. 1 times 3 is 3, 6 and 8 is 48. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 and 8 is 72. Okay, and then finishing this off, 10, 30, 45, 12 and 16. Okay, pause that quick just so we can get through it here. This is my product matrix here. 12 and 16 is 28, 3 and 48 is 51, 9 and 72 is 81. Okay, so once you get this part down, it's just simple addition. Okay? Okay, we have one more left here. Okay, so I want you guys to figure out, can you guys multiply this, and go ahead and try this. This one's a little bit tricky, okay? But go ahead and pause your video, give it a shot. Okay, I know I'm jumping, pause the video so you guys can get caught up, but I want you guys trying this on your own. First off, 2 by 1, 1 by 2. We've got a 2 by 2 product. So row 1, column 1, row 2, column 1, row 1, column 2, row 2, column 2. Okay, so when you guys do this, this one's a lot simpler because there's technically only a couple numbers that you guys are doing. Row 1, column 1. Negative 2 times 0 is all I need. Okay, next, row 1, column 2. Negative 2 times negative 1, and that's it. Okay, then we move on. Now we're on row 2. Row 2 is just a single number. That's okay. Row 2, column 1. 3 times 0. Okay, and then last one, row 2, column 2. 3 times negative 1. 3 times negative 1. Okay, so all I'm doing for my answer, negative 2 times 0, 0. Negative 2 times negative 1, 2. 3 times 0, 0. 3 times negative 1, negative 3. Okay, it is okay. It's possible that when you do one of these, there's only one number in the row and only one number in the column. That's fine. Okay, so the biggest thing that I can show you guys with this method is you've got to pay attention to your addresses. Your addresses tell you what row and what column you need to multiply by. Okay, the next video will be the alternate version. There's another method that you guys can do.